Hello everybody, I'm Tanner Sharp and welcome to Watkins, Glen International Speedway. Alongside me on SimPossible or 3Y TV is Cameron Rich, and back in the production truck is Carlos Acosta. And Cameron, welcome to Watkins, Glen International, a famed road course. Normally we see these boys turn left on an oval track, but today they're going to tackle a road course that's left and right. Tell me a little bit of your knowledge about Watkins, Glen International.
Yeah, Tanner, it's a very fast racetrack, about 2.5 hours away from Buffalo, middle of the state in the Finger Lakes. The Finger Lakes region of New York. A very nice, hilly, beautiful area, and this track is very renowned for its speed. It's very flowing in nature, and it's a favorite for a lot of drivers and spectators alike. This racetrack does tend to sell out every single year in the real life series. It's a very cool racetrack, puts on very great racing. I love it as a driver myself. It's just
It is definitely one of my favorite road courses as well, Cameron. And, unfortunately, I'm not racing it tonight, but I'm up here in the booth, and I'm glad to be here to watch these guys of the SimPossible Racing League turn left and right to see what they can do on a road course. And these guys are just fantastic, no matter what track you put them on. I know they practiced I think they had a spa race a couple weeks ago or a week ago or whenever that was, that the SimPossible guys really took on, and that was really cool. And plus, I've seen them do some road course action in the past too as well. We are round 7 out of 9 races so far in the K&N SimPossible Racing League season, and so far the season has been dominated by AJ Digby. He has won 3 of the last 4 races, which was Bristol, USA International, and Thompson. The other race he did not win was Martinsville, and plus we also had the Milwaukee Mile and Daytona International Speedway, which was won respectively by Billy Weiss and Alan Capers. And speaking of these drivers, let's go ahead and I'm going to check out the point standings here and read you the points. So far, Kyle Zimmer has 6 starts into the season so far, 1 win, 5 top 5, 6 top 10s. That gives him the point lead, but it's only a 4-point gap over Alan Capers and Billy Weiss, who's 8 points back in 3rd place. All 3 drivers do have a win. Next in line is 4th in points. He has 714, that's not points, but he has 235 points. He is just 14 points back, and that's Chris Roberge. Kevin Pasowicz is in 5th. Fernando Matos in 6th. Nate Cotilia is in 7th. Brian Lohead is in 8th. 9th place, Johnny Bernardi, and tied for 9th is AJ Digby. Rounding out that top 10, Travis Zunema. The reason why Digby he's on a roll, but he's not up there in points. The reason why is because he hasn't started every single race this season. He's starting what he can, and when he's out there, he is just bad fast at what he does. But the points is tight with just 3 races remaining between Zimmer, Capers, and Weiss, and we can also add Chris Roberge into that mix. Chris Roberge is only 14 points out, and if anything really happens where he can finish ahead and also get bonus points of Kyle Zimmer, Alan Capers, and Billy Weiss, that'll put him close to the championship lead with just 3 remaining. So Chris Roberge is hoping to have a good race today while the battle's still on point for the top 3 guys. Cameron.
Yeah, and to kind of expand on AJ Digby a bit, he was your winner of the last 2 races at USA and Bristol, and we talked to him at the last SimPossible road course race before Road America, which was at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. He had a very fast truck there and was not able to capture the win due to some circumstances, but he's very excited about this race, and I think he wants to go for 3 in a row. But we have started the qualifying session now, about 10 minutes in qualifying for these drivers to make 2 laps. I believe on board right now, this is the number 7 of Kevin Pasowicz. He is on his out lap going through the bus stop right there. And Tanner, I think really this track, as flowing as fast as it is, the bus stop is a bit of an anomaly on the racetrack. It's probably one of the toughest corners to get right because you can really make up a lot of time through that corner, but you can also lose a lot as well. And if you get it wrong, it really can not only ruin your lap, but if you get it too wrong, you can wreck your car in a pretty big way.
Oh, you can wreck your car in a pretty big way and also wreck somebody else in that process. So you really got to tiptoe your way through that stop. It can be forgiving. It can also be unforgiving if you don't hit your marks just right. It can also be used as a passing part of the racetrack. You've seen that many times. But sometimes when it leads to passing, it can also lead to utter disaster. going down the front straightaway. Actually, that was on the front straight, but right now that's Kyle Zimmer in the 25 machine. He is the championship point leader right now as he is going through actually the final corner, turn 8 right now to the front straightaway. Right on screen going into the Cs of turn 2, 3, and 4. Who's this on board? Who's the 3-wide TV machine? That's 17, Fernando Matos. Another corner I'm going to keep an eye on tonight here, Cameron, is going to be turn 1. I think turn 1 is a passing zone, but it's also can be a failure zone for some drivers. It can be easily overshot wide. It can be easily when you put down the power of the throttle to spin the car out. You're really begging for that rear grip when you're coming out of turn number 1, the first corner of the race, and that's what makes this track a little difficult. It looks easy, but some portions of the track here can be very difficult. Fernando Matos already going into turn number 5, which is actually, that's not turn 5, that's going into turn number 7 right now. Matos is, and that's going to be a trouble spot for these drivers. That's Fernando goes off track right there. It can be easily overshot. A lot of these corners here at Watkins Glen can be easily overshot, and it can cost you the race.
Absolutely, and to expand on what you said about turn 1, it is a very steeply downhill braking zone, and the brakes on these cars not super good. They're steel rotors, and they're not what you typically find on a race car. You know, carbon disc, carbon ceramic brake pads like you see on prototypes, dedicated road course for cars. These are just about one step up from what you find on high-end road cars. So they're not very good, and these are pretty heavy cars to begin with. So turn 1, very tough on the brakes, and you really have to make sure that you don't overshoot it like you said, and that's why it is probably the best passing zone on the racetrack, turn 1. Here is the number 20 of Dave Wilson. He was fastest in practice by about 0.5 of a second over AJ Digby, so both those drivers showing a lot of speed out here today. He's coming off the last corner to complete his lap time. We'll see what he gets on the board, and I believe we just cut away from him. He might not have actually gotten a lap time. I'm not sure why. He might have clipped the grass or something like that, so we'll see if he can get that in. Here's Chris Berge coming off that carousel corner. That's a pretty that's a corner that I personally love as a driver because you can really go through it a few different ways, and really you don't have to run one line. You can kind of diamond the corner or run right around the bottom. And right here you see this track, or this corner right here, the last corner on the racetrack, I believe either 8 or 9, depending on what iRacing counts it as. It's really kind of deceptive. You can really overshoot it and get into that guardrail on the outside pretty easily, and that can ruin your race right there. Here's Alan Capers on the track. He has not gotten a lap time yet. He's actually stopping in the turn 1 end of the track, so not sure what, I believe he might have disqualified his laps. It's one thing that is kind of difficult here in qualifying. You cannot hit the grass whatsoever or go off track or do anything like that, or else iRacing will disqualify your lap. So road course qualifying is pretty tough because you have to be perfect and have 0 contact with anything besides asphalt.
Flows fast on road course racing on qualifying, for sure. That's just my opinion. You might not get the fastest qualifying time unless you're posting the qualifying time, but it's very difficult. You have to be perfect. You gotta stay on the racetrack. Bernardi's coming off. This is Johnny Bernardi in the number 99. He just came off at the final corner of turn 8, start-finish line, headed down to the first corner of the racetrack, which is a right-hander in that Ford number 99. There's the number 25, the championship point leader, and the Ally 25 Chevrolet. Game stop on the side as well, Kyle Zimmer.
And we talked to Kyle Zimmer after the last event at, I believe it was Bristol, and he is not super confident in his road course racing ability. I think he will do fine here. He's currently 5th in the practice or the qualifying charts right now, but he said to us that he's not super confident in his road course racing abilities. So this is kind of a survive and see what happens type of race for him, which you don't really want to have as the points leader. You really want to have the confidence to try to go out there and make something happen. And it's just not what we heard from that driver after the last event. But I think, Kyle, Tanner, you know this better than anyone else, being an ex-teammate of him. He's a very adaptable driver. He's even if he is having a bad day, we've seen it all throughout the season so far. Kyle Zimmer has a bad day and he's running 4th. So, I think he will be just fine here. Just keep himself out of trouble and keep it on the racetrack. And I think he'll figure it out because I've seen Kyle absolutely be nowhere all race and somehow pull a podium out of it. And I think he's just one of those drivers that can do that each and every week, and that's probably why he's the points leader.
And that goes to show what who not just Kyle, but every single driver, who they are. Man, this track, it's so difficult for me. I feel like I'm gonna have a hard time. Well, they try and try. You fail, you try. I mean, you get knocked down, you get right back up. That's just who these guys are, for sure. As qualifying just concluded here at the Glen, so let's go ahead and take it to the grid here. David Wilson got the pole for this evening. I think this is gonna be the cat to watch tonight. He will be competing with AJ Digby here tonight. They are starting side by side right off the bat. So David Wilson on pole. Congratulations to David, and AJ Digby in second. Chris Roberge in third. Kevin Pasowich in fourth. And rounding out that top five, Kyle Zimmer. Cameron.
And our last two qualifiers of the evening should post time. The number 17 of Fernando Matos going to be starting in 6th, and Johnny Berardi in 7th. And we'll just go through the rest of the grid. We don't have them on the graphic for you, but Billy Wise is going to be starting in the 8th position. Tom Johnson 9th, Alan Capers in 10th, Nate Catilla in 11th, and Brian Lowhead, who we usually don't see qualify at most events. He's going to be starting shotgun on the field tonight in the 12th position. So that rounds out your 12-car grid for tonight's event. And Tanner, as these cars sit on the front stretch, right, you see all of them lined up right there. Next time by, they're all going to be going quite a bit faster than they are now. Of course, not sitting still. What are you thinking at this stage in the race, really, where you have to plan your moves into turn 1 and make sure that you don't get it wrong, and make sure you don't overshoot that corner?
Well, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. And I think this is going to be a standing start. This isn't a rolling start, but we're already green here. And speaking of that, let's just, to answer your question, as they head down to turn 1 for the first time this evening, Dave Wilson gets down there. This side-by-side battle is for second place. But to answer your question, Cameron, is that you really have to be patient at a road course. Okay, let's say Brian Lowhead and Nate Catilla, who are in the back of the pack. Lowhead is already overdrawn in the corner, but you just got to be patient. Take your time. Race the racetrack. Don't race the competition. You'll eventually catch them. Just try to run your race and not worry about what other guys are doing here. This is a road course. It's a 40-lap event here at the Glen. Dave Wilson takes it into the bus stop of turn 5 for the first time this evening right now, followed by AJ Digby and Chris Roberge closely behind. There's Kevin Pasowich in the 27 machine. Everybody's single file for the moment.
Yeah, through the carousel on the back end of the racetrack. Looks like everybody was a bit caught out by that standing start. Of course, I was too. Just a bit of a issue setup session. No harm, no foul. Everybody got away just fine. Had one car off in the grass through the carousel a bit. It was Fernando Matos, got it straight, and didn't even lose a position, I don't think. But the battle for the lead heating up a bit. AJ Digby and Dave Wilson going at it. Looks like Wilson was able to keep a tighter line through the last corner of the track and get a good run down that front straight. Just like throughout the first lap, everybody was able to keep it on the track more or less, and no major incidents to report.
No major incidents to report just yet, as the battle is still going to be on point. At least it's close by. AJ Digby looks like he had a little grip problem exiting turn number 1, lost a little momentum, but nonetheless, he's still closely behind Dave Wilson for that top spot. AJ Digby, he sounds like he's the road ringer of the SimPossible Racing League at the moment. He has won these road course races or been up towards the front there before, but he has won 3 of the last 4 races on the oval standpoint. Looking throughout the field here, there might be a battle brewing up between Kyle Zimmer and Kevin Pasowich for a position. That could be a position for 4th place as they go through the bus stop of turn 5. Now going through turn number 6, which is the tunnel turn at the moment. It is a long sweeping right-hander, just feathering the throttle at this point of the racetrack. Getting off that corner can be a hard thing to do, can snap loose on you. Everybody running single file at the moment. Nobody has bringing off track. There is a little bit of a battle in the pack between Tom Johnson and Johnny Bernardi. Bernardi gave him a little bit of a bumper in the back of the pack here. But Bernardi just let off the back burn to let him go and give him some space, which is a good racing strategic move. Then you got Brian Lowhead in 12th, but close behind, and actually in 11th, and Nick Catilla in the back of the pack.
And the number 4, Catilla, actually was involved in a bit of an incident. He overshot the bus stop just a little bit. Had to actually serve a slowdown penalty because he missed the majority of it. So he was in the battle with Tom Johnson and Berardi, but had to kind of duck out of it for that penalty, but he was able to keep his car straight. So everybody has gotten pretty settled up front. Lead right now, 0.7 of a second between Dave Wilson and Digby, and that's a further about 2 seconds back to the 98 Chris Burge teammate of Dave Wilson. So we're already getting spread out a little bit here, but everybody looks like they are settling in pretty nicely. We're here on board with, I believe that is the 27, that's Pasquich. He is running in, I believe, in the fourth position right now. So I'm a bit caught out by the new number for the Kevin Pasquich. He's usually in the 7, but in the 27 this week. And
on the top of the car, rear camera, Kyle Zimmer closely behind. Actually gained a lot of momentum through the bus stop. Oh, off track goes Christopher Burge, third place car driver. Just overshot the corner right into the glitter.
And that is so easy to do, Tanner. We were talking about that in the race. You just miss your braking zone by, inches, and it'll shoot you right off track. We'll see on board or on the replay. Just you saw that car just really never even attempted to make the corner. Just a little bit too much speed into the corner, but no harm, no foul. Got it out of the kitted litter, and he's going to lose a couple spots, but live to fight another day. Now he is running in the 5th position behind Kyle Zimmer. I think that number 98 is pretty fast, though. He probably might be wanting to get his position back. Maybe right here. He got a very good run through the S's. See if he can make the move down into the bus stop. I think Kyle Zimmer might just let him go. Right there, you see he's going to let that 98 go and just say, thank you very much. Just take it from me. Have a nice day.
Okay, if I'm Christopher Burge, I'm like, okay, I just messed up. I lost 2. Oh, I gotta run. Kyle sees it. He's gonna let me go. Kyle's like, okay, I'm gonna let you go for now. I'll probably get you later. And that's what happened. That is respectful racing out there, and that's what these guys do here in SimPossible.
Absolutely, and not much happening up at the front. The lead now about 0.1 seconds between Digby and Dave Wilson. So number 20 showing he has a lot of speed here at this track this weekend. You said it yourself, Tanner, that 20 probably the one to watch tonight, but we know that number 14 is a bit of a road ringer himself. He is he's a regular in a couple of the road leagues I've seen him in, so he definitely knows what he's doing. Don't count out the number 27, though, Kevin Pasquich. He's running in a solid 3rd position. We saw him do things before that are pretty good, so I think he's probably going to be the dark horse candidate for today. But up here at the front, there's that A&W machine, Dave Wilson. Same kind of a line he's running around the racetrack. He's hitting those curbs very aggressively, getting very close to those guardrails, but that is a lot of speed right there. Just have to be very careful that you don't get into them, because that will upset the car, especially with these old style cars. They don't like to be bounced around too terribly much, so he's going to have to make sure that he doesn't do something too much there. But you can see how much they're bouncing through these bus stop curbs. You just have to let the car ride over them, and definitely very fast right now. Let's see what the lap times was last time. 1:13.775 compared to 1:14.3 for Digby behind. So number 20 very fast at the moment.
Number 20, we're still on board here. He's going into turn number 6. Let's see how he breaks right into it. He doesn't want to overshoot. He just wants to take his time. That he does. He rides right on that seam or that part of the track right down there. And then he gets right back into it, right down on the same part of the track down turn 8. Rides that low momentum, hits the grass just a little bit, not too much, but he keeps the car under control, past start finish line, and now we're back down into turn number 1 right now. So, and this could be an overshooting corner. You can even get loose on braking as well, and good thing they paved that area coming off of turn number 1, because that used to be grass years and years ago. Or dirt, yeah, actually it was kitty litter, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. That was not terribly long ago that was the case, and even this version of the track that we have on the iRacing service, a bit older than it should be. There is more pavement around the track now, especially off the carousel. But we'll check in on Alan Capers. He's currently in the 7th position, started in 10th, so he's actually gained a few spots right in front.
Brian Lowhead into the outside barrier wall for turn number 8. He licked it pretty good there. He's got some left side damage. I'm seeing Johnny Bernardi too in 12th place, but we'll look at Brian Lowhead in the 66 machine. Into turn number 8. He just smacked the rear wall. That mellow yellow Menards paint scheme looking pretty good. Right there, he smacked it pretty hard. Just got into the gas a little too early, and the car just did not want to turn to the right anymore, and he just smacked it. But he's still out there. He's still trying, and that's what I love about these guys. They never give up. Here's Fernando Matos in the number 17, currently in 8th place after starting 6th. Just ahead of him is Alan Capers in the 13. Capers has actually been on the move since the drop of the green flag. He qualified 10th, and now he's in 7th place.
And we have a best on the track right now, all the way back for the 10th position, or excuse me, 9th, between Tom Johnson and Nate Catilla. These two have been going back and forth pretty much every single lap. It's like Nate Catilla's trying to get around Johnson, but he can't make the move. He can't find a way past. Tom Johnson doing everything he can to put his car where it needs to be, that 4 cannot get around him. Doing a good job of doing just that. Looks like Nate Catilla thought about going down pit road there. I don't think he really did, but just ran a very tight line under that yellow line through the last corner for 4th place here between Roberge and Zimmer. Roberge looking to get, I believe, He
Zimmer got
was.
by Roberge already. He just passed him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought that Roberge got around Zimmer earlier, but like you said, Tanner, he just let the 98 go earlier, and he's just gonna try to get by him later in the race, and just a good, smart racing move for Zimmer to do that and
Yeah,
showing
it
exactly
was
what he
an
needs to do.
it was an overshot corner for Roberge down to turn number 1, and then Zimmer took advantage of the situation and went right by him. So there's no harm, no foul between the two drivers. So that will put Kyle Zimmer in 4th place and Chris Roberge in 5th.
Bit further on back for 7th between Capers and Matos. Matos has caught the number 13 of Alan Capers, and actually I see a little bit of rear damage on the back of that 17. Not sure where that came from, but it's not going to hurt the car whatsoever. That area of the car not too much important here. Looks like he's actually going to try to make the move off the corner. No, he doesn't have enough momentum down the front shed. See if he can maybe make a dive bomb. I don't think he's close enough to do that at all, but you know, you can see how spread out these cars are. Looks like everybody's just kind of settled in at this point of the race. We're like, ooh, trouble for the 13
Alan
in the wall.
Capers
In the wall hard.
Into the inside rear.
And that's definitely going to hurt the handling on that. But we'll see what happened here. I think he just gave it a little bit too much gas off that first corner. Like you said, Tanner, very easy to do that.
Yeah, sometimes if that ever happens, you sometimes kind of want to let the throttle breathe and just catch the car before you get back into the throttle again. You hear time to time again that, being in the throttle is probably better, but that's sometimes not always a good thing. This time, Alan Capers hard into the inside wall. He just lost position on that to Fernando Matos.
And that is not what he needed in this battle. He is 4 points behind Kyle Zimmer. Kyle Zimmer now running in the 4th position, kind of just running his own race. And now the 13, quite heavy damage on that car. It's definitely not going to drive as well as it was before. Smacked that barrier pretty hard. So back at the front here. Now Dave Wilson has about a 5-second lead on Digby. I think Digby might have been in trouble just a little bit a couple moments ago, because he definitely has lost a lot of time in the last lap or so. Let's look at lap times. 16.8 for Digby to a 14.6 for Wilson. So that number 20 absolutely on a rail right now. Ooh, trouble, or almost some trouble there. That was very close between the 99 of Berardi and Digby. Berardi 1 lap down on the field right now. You see quite some heavy damage on the front end of that car. So definitely that number 99 off pace a little bit right now with some damage. But back up to the battle for the 4th position. Zimmer and Roberge still going at it. It looks like they've been at it all race. These two drivers running just about the same lap times each and every lap. They're kind of trading lap times back and forth, and I think we might see this battle go through to the end of the race.
Road course skills of these cats have been really improved here. Zimmer's just trying to find a way to try, okay, where can I get some speed? And I think Roberge is really picking up on it because he's just been following in the lines of Kyle Zimmer. And if Zimmer makes a mistake, or even if Roberge is a little faster, he'll let him go. But these cats have been battling it for quite some time now for a position on track. Just ahead of those two is Berardi. He's 1 lap down. And then you got 3rd place Kevin Pasowich. So Pasowich is pulling away. He wants to see Zimmer and Roberge battle for 4th spot as long as possible so he can pull away for a... And we got Nate Catilla. Number 4 has wrecked after the bus stop. I think he clipped a lot of grass there.
Yeah, he actually had just around the 56 of Tom Johnson, just gave it a little too much speed into that corner, and you saw that car just kind of wallow over those curves and lost it. And really, you know, we talked about in pre-race, Tanner, if you get that wrong, it can be disastrous. You see how much damage is on that car. Really not going to be driving the same after that one will go on board. You can just see how much of that front end doesn't look like a race car anymore. Definitely going to be a little bit slow down the straights and not handle like he needs it to be. And I was actually thinking about that. Of course, all these drivers have 4 fast pairs for the event, so it's not too much of a big deal to get damage. But I don't believe we do we have cautions at road courses on iRacing, so that's definitely going to not be good for your track position. But I do believe all these drivers are probably going to have to pit at least once during the event. Probably about halfway is probably, if we do have to pit, is what these drivers are going to be looking at.
Just keep in mind too, when you any time on an oval track or a road course, you get in the grass or dirt area and all that, and you get back on the pavement and you just smash down the throttle, sometimes you're going to spin the tires, both front and rear, because you still have a lot of dirt and grass that does stick on the tires here on iRacing, and you have to get all that dirt off your tires to help provide for that grip. So You got to keep that. That's why one of the reasons why I believe Nate Cotillia spun out off of the bus stop area, because he was tried mashing the gas to try to keep on going, and there was just too much dirt on his tires and had to spin it out.
Yeah, definitely something you have to be mindful of as a driver. Those dirty tires do not grip like new tires, or even not dirty old tires grip. So definitely, if you go off the track and get some gravel or dirt or oil or whatever you get on those tires, really have to be mindful of that. Here's Alan Capers. He's currently running in the 8th position. We saw him hit the barrier off turn 1 a few laps ago. Still out there, has not elected to come down pit road yet. You see the damage on the, I believe it was the right side of that car. So really not as bad as I initially thought. He was able to get away with it pretty well, as opposed to how the number 4 Nick Hill looks. That is a bit more damage on that machine, but doing a pretty good job to keep out there and not lose too much time right there. There's Chris Burge, he's actually backed off of the 25 a bit. Now the gap about 2.5 seconds to Kyle Zimmer. See, he goes way wide there for turn 1. And you might think as a driver, Tanner, that swinging your car out wide off of turn 1 is the fast way around here, but really I've always found it a lot more beneficial to just keep it a little bit tighter, maybe clip that curb just a little bit, but not go way out there and hit those porta potties.
Just up a little bit. I mean, the curbs can help by grip in the tires. Wow, that was close. But we have pass switch going through the bus stop and turn in the tunnel turn of turn 6. But yeah, hitting them rumble strips can really help provide the car grip, but it also can mean disaster, depending upon how much you're into, because there's could be dirt on them rumble strips, and you collect that dirt and it can provide the car to get really loose. So you really got to be careful and kind of feather the throttle. Turn 6, after the bus stop, is a corner of the racetrack where you don't want to hit the rumble strips, but you just want to continuously feather the throttle to help provide speed coming off the corner. If you feel like you're loose, sometimes you got to let the throttle breathe to catch the car first before you get back into the throttle. And then when you feel like the car has enough grip, you can get back into the throttle and then you can drive off. But yeah, you don't want to overshoot any kind of corner. It's bad. Always try to get those, undercut it as much as you can to provide that grip without spinning it out.
Absolutely. And one thing that probably it sounds a little bit silly to say, but is definitely something that you feel as a driver. All rumble strips are not created equal at this racetrack. You see right there through the carousel on the inside, those white flat rumble strips, some connection issues for the leader.
Yeah, Wilson,
just a little bit, but you can see those white flat rumble strips. You can hit those just fine, and that will not upset your car. But you see going through, I believe, turn number 8 right here, or 7, those, he's having some more connection issues. Hopefully that does not, hopefully that doesn't cause anything. But there through the last corner, those kind of higher rumble strips, colored a little bit differently. You do not want to hit those under any circumstances whatsoever, because they will upset your car and spin it out pretty easily. But through those white rumble strips, you can hit those. You can pretty much slam those all you want.
Oh no, Tom Johnson, turn 1.
Right in front of the leader, yeah. That's a dangerous place to wreck right there. It looks like he's going to get it sorted out and get it underway. AJ Digby having to make some evasive maneuvers, but looks like he was able to get it going.
Good save by Tom Johnson.
Yeah, and through turn 1, you don't usually wreck in turn 1 and not hit anything, so that's a good piece of driving right there.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. I'm a victim to that, where I spun on and hit the tire barriers that were on the inside there. I'm a victim to that, even while leading the race too. So that's my past of road racing, but nonetheless, we still have Dave Wilson out towards the front right now. On screen here, we have AJ Digby, who's about 6.7 seconds back of Dave Wilson. Running some fine lap times, but nowhere near the lap times last time by for both drivers, Wilson and Digby, have evened out right now. So this time by, Wilson is coming across the start-finish line. AJ Digby is coming off the final corner, and Wilson ran a 1:14.721 compared to Digby's 1:15. So there is a difference right now. About a lap ago, they were relatively the same. So Wilson's still fast here at Watkins Glen International Speedway.
Yeah, we saw the 14 of Digby have to make a bit of an evasive move there through turn 1. Probably cost him a couple tenths there, and just looks like the 20 is a little bit more consistent each and every lap with his lap times. He's really not falling off too much. He's pretty much running, similar lap times each and every lap. He's got that car really dialed in to his feel right now. A bit back right now, Kevin Pasquich, 16 seconds behind the leader. He's also running pretty good lap times, 15.688 last time. Not really deviating too much from that, but doing exactly what he needs to do to stay where he is. He's been able to keep ahead of that 25 of Zimmer, who has been faster lap or here and there, but has not been able to be consistently faster to mount a charge on him. So doing exactly what he needs to do to keep his car in third at the moment.
Not to alarm anybody here, you were talking earlier about drivers blinking. Wilson's been blinking the most for me. Every other driver I've not seen blink yet, with the exception of Johnny Bernardi and Chris Roberge. But that's, I think I've looked at their pings. They do had some pretty high pings at times. But everybody else seems to be doing okay at the moment. Nothing to worry on a Dave Wilson camp. If you're a Dave Wilson fan in SimPossible, he is doing just fine. He's out there, got a 7-second lead. He blinks at times, but it's nothing to be concerned about. That A&W machine is really hauling the mail here at Watkins Glen. So it's a good run for Dave Wilson. He has yet to win in the K&N series here on the SimPossible Racing Series side. But I'm sure he's searching for that first win of the season for him today. AJ Digby, he has the most wins in the series, second place. Right now, we got on screen. Kyle Zimmer looks like he's walking into traffic right now. Oh, we have trouble. That's
Johnny Bernardi.
Yeah, Johnny Bernardi. Oh, Bernardi. Yeah, he's really slow. He's got a lot of damage into that number 99 machine.
Way too much speed, and you saw the car just never turn and straight in the tire barrier. Actually, I think he got lodged in it a little bit, had to kind of wiggle that car out and see that front end a little bit flatter than it was before. He was already about 2 laps down before that happened anyway, so he's going to get it out of the grass, and it looks like, ooh, had some more trouble after that. Got it lodged into the guardrail afterwards, so if the front end wasn't flat after the first hit, it definitely is now, so that front end definitely not happy whatsoever. But back here, closer to the front, Kyle Zimmer still running in the fourth position, doing a good job to kind of just run right there. Ooh, just trouble for the four. Nick Tilla was spun around off turn 1. He was on the inside of the track, but looks like he was well out of the way of anyone getting into him. Ooh, Dave Wilson, trouble for him. He missed the bus stop, actually. So if we can get to him, he missed the bus stop, and he's going to have to slow down quite a bit. He just completely cut the entire bus stop, so he's going to have a big penalty. That's going to be good for AJ Digby to kind of recoup some of that time he lost. I believe it's going to be about a 2 or 3 second penalty for missing it. Looks like he knew he wasn't going to be able to make the corner without getting himself in trouble, and he did a good job just to kind of abandon the corner and take time penalty because he has such a big lead. Really no reason not to. Back here in fifth pin, that's Chris Roberge. Ooh, see some trouble for the 4. Nate Catilla. Looks like Tom Johnson had to make some evasive maneuver. He backed out of the gas quite significantly, and number 4, Nate Catilla, probably going to be happy to get on the plane out of Watkins Glen. He doesn't look like he's having too much fun here tonight. Probably not too much of a fan of the road course style racing, but he's still out there running in the 9th position, so in the top 10, doing what he needs to do to try to keep that car looking somewhat like a race car. It is a little bit banged up, but still running nonetheless, and either way, doing a fine job to keep it out of the wall more than he is. But looks like the lead for Wilson over Digby now down to 6 seconds, down from, I believe it was about 8 before. So he lost about 2 seconds on that exchange through the bus stop. We'll see if he does that again. I think he probably won't, but a battle for third brewing up between Zimmer and Pasquich. Zimmer has actually caught Pasquich quite quickly here in the last few laps. Looking at the lap times, Pasquich last time a 16.334 to a 15.341, so about a second quicker last time by for Zimmer over Pasquich. And I think we're just seeing Kyle Zimmer do what he does best, and he's just letting the track come to him, letting the car come to him, just letting the whole race come to him. And I think he's probably going to be looking at the third position here in just a moment. We have some technical issues for Tanner Sharp, so we'll let him get that settled out while we continue battling here for Zimmer. He's going to make the move into turn number 1, looking low. That is a very good braking zone. I think Pasquich might overshoot the corner here. He looks like, actually, he made it pretty well. He's going to go off past that rumble strip just a little bit, get some speed off, but I thought for sure that was going to be an overshot corner for Pasquich. He did a good job to get on the brakes and slow it down, but Zimmer, I think he senses blood and he wants to get that third position if he can from Pasquich, and Zimmer's closest competition in the points, Alan Capers, he's all the way back in 8th position. Last car on the lead lap right now, so Zimmer doing a good job to do what he needs to do, and he's actually going to take the position pretty easily from Pasquich, but actually, overshoots the last part of the bus stop. I think Pasquich, he's going to get back around him, and so this battle for the third position rages on. AJ Digby, I'm looking at him. I don't see him on the racetrack right now. He's gone from the 2nd position back to 8th, 1 lap down. So might be some connection issues or something. I'll have to go back and watch that, but definitely a big development if that's the case, because he definitely is not on the racetrack right now. So I think got the official word, received throughput fell to unacceptable level for Digby, so he has fallen out of the race, so a big shame for him. And our first pit stop of the race, Serberge, he is your 4th place runner right now, right at halfway, so that's what I thought most of these drivers would do. So Chris Serberge throwing a bit of a short pitting strategy out, trying to get some new tires on that car and probably make some time up on Dave Wilson. But now that AJ Digby is out of the race, he has about an 18-second lead on everyone else right now, so really he's kind of cruising out there. Not too much to worry about for him. He can pit whenever he wants. Probably not even pit if he doesn't want to. Probably just coast around and make save fuel with the lead he's got right now, but probably not going to try to do that because I think he's coming into pit road. This lap looks like he's very tight, and yes, he is. He's going to stay below that yellow line and right down to 35 miles an hour in the pit lane. Make sure you don't speed because that will not be good for you. And this pit road, very tough as a driver. It is downhill, so you really have to make sure you keep watch on your speed because it can really mess with you. Kevin Pasquich elected to come out pit road as well, so as we thought, most of these drivers are going to come down on the halfway mark of the race. Kyle Zimmer looks like he's going to try to lead 1 lap, I believe. He's going to stay out 1 lap and try to get a lap led, and Billy Wise, he's now up to the 5th position after the pit cycles have gotten to where they are. But tire wear at this racetrack is pretty significant. It's worse than most other road courses that we run at on the stock car side of things. This surface on the iRacing surface is quite old. This is the pre-repave that we got in about 2012 or so. 17 of Matos on pit road as well. But the tire wear is pretty significant here, and you really have to make a note of that if you are a driver. And another thing to make note of, as we saw on the 17 of Matos, we said that the pit road is downhill, so that means the pit stalls are downhill as well. So you have to make sure you don't slide through your box coming into your pit stall, because that is a very easy thing to do, and I've unfortunately done that quite a few times myself. So it's just something you have to make note of. Kyle Zimmer, now he's going to come down pit road. I think he's going to lead this lap as long as nobody else is behind him, but I think he is going to be the last car to pit. It looks like everybody else looks like they're going to cycle through pretty good. Dave Wilson coming off the last corner right now, past the start-finish line right now, so he's going to go ahead and take the lead right back, and that lead probably going to be around the 20 to 25 second mark around the rest of the field. Looks like the last of the cycles coming through right now. It looks like Tanner has come back. You had some technical issues there.
Yes, the audio went out on my end. I could not hear anything, and it's a pain in the butt to fix, but nonetheless, Dave Wilson already has pitted. And I tell you what is the strategy as far as trying to catch a race leader at a road course? Is it just simply, hey, he's just faster than me, or can you use pit strategy to really trying to close the gap and be competitive with the race leader, Cameron? I know you're a good racer yourself. What is the strategy on the road? It's much different than an oval.
Yeah, really, what these guys are at here, say Dave Wilson, he had about an 18-second lead over the rest of the field at the start of the pit cycles, and that's almost insurmountable through pit strategy, but if the lead was a little bit lower, say 5-10 seconds, if you were to pit 2 or 3, 4, maybe 5 laps before him, those fresh tires would probably allow you to cycle through ahead of him, but that also means that you would have 3, 4, or 5 lap older tires the rest of the run. So it's really hard to do, more so on a road course than an oval, because the tires just really aren't going to hold up for you if you do that. So on the road courses, if you're faster, you really are just faster sometimes. So Dave Wilson's come out here. His lead is 17.8 seconds, I believe. Pasquich pitted a couple laps before him, so that is probably going to extend by a little bit each and every lap, because of those tires. That difference is just going to keep getting, bigger and bigger. And on the flip side, you see Kyle Zimmer. He's now up to third, but he's 20.7 seconds behind. He has the freshest tires of anyone. He pitted the latest, and he's probably going to be able to. And you saw he was battling with the 27 of Pasquich before the pit cycles, happened. Ooh, looks like he got out of shape right there, sideways
Zimmer,
in the wall. So, might be commentator's curse right there. We'll see what happened on the replay. Tanner, I think he just missed the corner.
Well, I mean, I think he was kind of bouncing the car on entrance into the bus stop. I mean, realistically, he hit them. As soon as he got off that second rumble strip, that thing started snapping loose, got into the grass area. It's hard to catch the car when it's still in grass. He's still trying to catch it as it's bouncing everywhere, and he still hits the guardrail on the inside, and that's very unfortunate for Kyle Zimmer. He's got some significant right front damage on that Ally machine, and he will lose some time to this, no doubt for sure, despite still being in the third position. But closely behind is a clean number 98 of Chris Roberge. He is really starting to gain on Zimmer at the moment. And look at this, we have some battles going on right here. That's Alan Capers and Billy Weiss, and man, that got really close between Weiss and Fernando Matos. This is a battle for 5th and 6th, and we conclude Alan Capers on us for 7th. So it's technically a 3-car battle, despite not being side by side. Fernando Matos driving the middle of the track, kind of wanted defending his position just a little bit. Billy Weiss going to the outside here. Let's see what happens. Unfolds down turn number 1. Usually everything does, getting close there between the two drivers of Matos and Weiss. Weiss could not do anything with Matos just yet as they go through the S's of turns 2, 3, and 4. Right now through turns 3. So far the momentum belongs to Fernando Matos, but here comes Alan Capers with some big heavy momentum on Billy Weiss in the 32 as they go down the back straightaway. Down into the bus stop of turn number 5. Close to the back bumper of Matos, backs it off from Billy Weiss. Alan Capers wants to try to do something. Weiss gets a little bit loose, gets into this area side by side for position, and Weiss had no choice but to give it up. So hand that position over to Alan Capers. Alan Capers up to 6th, Billy Weiss now to 7th place as Fernando Matos drives away from those two cats.
And one thing I want to make a note of, Matos himself, he's kind of he's got a road course background. He came from road course racing before he transitioned to the SimPossible League with the ovals. With that defending move he's making, he's driving in the middle of the track and slowly moving over to the racing line. That's a very textbook road course move right there, and you kind of see it. It's what you see in the kind of in the road course series, the textbook move. So he's doing a good job to keep those drivers behind him, and really they can't do anything. And he's just doing what he needs to do to keep Alan Capers and Billy Weiss behind him.
Oh, he's doing everything he can. He's right now sitting in the top 5 position. The man on the move since the drop of the green flag this evening is the number 13 of Alan Capers. Started 10th, now up to 6th place. Starting to breathe down the neck of Fernando Matos as they enter the bus stop at the moment. Right there. Oh, a little bit of a mistake there. That's okay. He recuperates. Right there, he just let off the gas and let the car come to him, and then he was able to get back into it. He may have lost some time, but he's like, okay, I got this under control now. Lost a little time. I can gain this back. Billy Weiss is closely behind. He's regained his car. He's starting to try to catch Alan Capers just a little bit, but I'm sure Capers, he knows he can compete with Fernando. It's just a matter of passing somebody.
Yeah, and when you're in the position of Alan Capers, when you're trying to battle with a car in front of you and you also have one behind you hounding you for your position, it really is a difficult place to be, because you have to worry about both cars, and that really can psych you out as a driver, because you start looking in your mirrors, and really that can be a moment where you kind of just lose your concentration and go a little bit wide, maybe miss the corner. Looks like he might have got a
Oh
little
no,
bit loose.
Alan Peters!
As I'm saying about it, looks like he might have done that right there. Looks like he just missed his braking zone in one and just got the car a little bit sideways. But yeah, right there, he just goes down into turn number one. See the front end dive down on the brakes, and just looks like the rear end came out, never really came back, and just almost identical what he did a little bit earlier on in the race, Tanner.
Yeah, same spot at the track too, turn one, and he was just trying to get some rear grip into them tires. Tires were just screaming and they were just spinning, and he just spun right on out. Now he's about to go one lap down to Dave Wilson as they exit the bus stop. On screen, Kevin Pasowich in second place, 18.7 seconds back of the race leader down the back straightaway. This AJ Digby is had internet connection troubles. And is unable to regain his internet, so that's very unfortunate for all you AJ Digby fans. He had a good showing here today. It's just the internet cycles have bitten him once again, so hopefully AJ can find a way to overcome those deals and get back out there and be competitive and win races. So Dave Wilson out front, Pasowich second place, Al Zimmer the top three drivers at the moment. Pasowich is going through turn 7. Catching Nate Cotilia, who's Cotilia in the 9th position. He's 2 laps down. Cotilla, sorry, Nate. I'm sorry, Nate. I'm sure Nate. I butchered everybody's name. I've been racing with these guys for how long, and I'm butchering names here. I am terrible with names. But hey, we got a battle on point between Fernando Matos and Billy Weiss through the tunnel turn. Billy's trying to catch Fernando. Fernando is actually doing everything he can. So far, he's far away from 4th place, so he's just hoping for a top 5 finish. Man, Billy Weiss got a huge run coming off of turn 6. Through turn 7, looks like it was more of a conservative approach by Billy. Billy goes down to the final corner of turn 8, and he should be able to gun that gas, and yes, he does. Fernando's still trying to play just a little defense, nothing wrong with that. Trying to hold on to a top 5 spot here. So this would be the biggest battle on track right now between Matos and Weiss. Weiss gets run off turn 1. Can he do anything in the S's? Through turns 2, turn 3 right here, and of course turn 4. We call it the S's in the racing world. Getting by Bernardi. This is the worst place of the racetrack to catch lap traffic, but that's nobody's fault right there. Going into the bus stop of turn 5. Now this can be a momentum changer right here for either driver. Looks like more momentum. They were pretty even coming off the bus stop. Turn 6, the tunnel turn. Better than the throttle until you can get into the throttle. Weiss looks like he had a good run, a very good run for Billy Weiss coming off of turn 6 as they head down to turn number 7. Anything can produce here for Billy? No, pretty even for both drivers coming off the corner. Turn 8. Oh, and Bernardi's off track in turn 7. Yeah, got it going.
If we can go back on board with the Weiss, one thing that really you have to do as a driver here in this position, when you're Billy, you have to make sure that you can try to get your car in the mirror of the car in front of you as much as possible. Because like we were saying, when you have a car in your mirror moving all over the place, trying to get your position, it really can psych you as a driver. So Billy is going to try to get his car in Fernando's mirrors as much as possible. We call that fill in the mirrors. So you just want to try to psych that driver out in front of you as much as you can, just to hope they make a mistake, maybe overshoot a corner or do something just so you can take their position away. But Fernando's doing a good job to kind of not do that. He's showing some experience here at the road course. Right there, you saw him get a little bit sideways, was able to get it up together pretty nicely, didn't even lose any time through it. Ooh, it's a little bit more loose off the carousel there, as we're saying. So that's going to open up a door for Billy Weiss, but see right there, he had to back out because Matos just putting his car where Billy Weiss needs it not to be, but into the turn number 7 here very deeply, and looks like he was able to keep his position pretty well. So Fernando is doing an excellent job here defending it pretty aggressively at this point.
That was a heck of a car save as they enter turn 6 in the tunnel turn there by Fernando Matos. Matos still has the 5th position, and Billy Wise still in 6th. This is a battle on point right to the back bumper. Oh, got loose. He just got loose. He got too close to the back bumper. He tried to get out of the way. Maybe he tried getting to the inside. It was just a quick reaction, and man, he just hit the tire barrier. It's just one of those deals where it just got loose on him. As he got closer to the back bumper of Matos, you'll see it right here. He got so close to the back bumper, just snapped loose on him. And just ahead of Billy Wise is Dave Wilson. Wilson has now caught Matos and is going to already put Billy Wise down, but Fernando's going to go a lap down as well. But Billy Wise, man, he's got that thing under control. He wants to try to catch Fernando before this race is over. We do have 10 laps remaining here at Watkins Glen.
And it looks like that tire barrier off number 1 is a kind of a calamity point on the racetrack. Looks like we've had a few drivers hit that because of off turn number 1, but we are now inside 10 laps to go. So let's just kind of go through the field right now real quickly. Your leader right there, Dave Wilson, he started right there and he's led every lap of the race, I believe, and has been pretty quick, has not really had a super serious challenge for his lead the entire race. His main competitor, AJ Digby, of course, falling out of the race due to connection issues. So I think he's probably just cruising right now, making some consistent lap times. Nothing more he really needs to do. Just kind of finish the last 9 laps of the race and get it done. There's Kevin Pasquich. He started in 4th up to 2nd place. Kind of had a very quiet night, but exactly what he needs. Not really done anything flashy, but that's just okay because he has not gotten himself in any trouble, and he's doing a fantastic job. Kyle Zimmer running in 3rd. We saw him in the wall a few laps ago in that turn 1 tire barrier. He was actually in the wall in the bus stop, I believe. See a bit of damage on the right front of that car, so not driving terribly good probably, and not really what he wanted out of the race, but he still is in 3rd position, doing a good job. We know he wasn't too thrilled about this race beforehand, but if he can get a podium out of it, I think he will be just happy with that. Right behind him, the last car on the lead lap, Chris Roberge. He started in 3rd, running 4th position. Hasn't really gotten himself in any trouble throughout the night. Just had another quiet night for him, doing exactly what he needs to do to try to get a top 5 out of the event, and exactly his teammate up there in the lead, probably getting some pointers from him to do what he needs to do. Those 2 Canadians running in the top 5. In 5th, Fernando Matos, he just went 1 lap down. He's your last driver in the top 5. He started in 6th, so he's up a position doing. We saw him with some good aggressive moves earlier in the race a few laps ago. Some good defense on his part, and I think he was in a battle with that position with Billy Wise. We saw Billy Wise get in some trouble, and we'll go to him right now. Billy Wise himself in the 6th position. He's kind of ran around there all race. Started in 8th, running in 6th now. Not had a very flashy night. We saw him getting in some trouble himself, but hasn't spun the car out or done anything too incredibly wild, and just kind of running the rest of the race. But Tanner, you take it away the rest of the field.
Yeah, Billy Wise, Billy Wise is in the 6th place right here. He's got a beaten up race car, and Wise has actually been having a pretty competitive season in the series camp right now. I just clicked on his stats. He's got 1 win, 4 top 5, 6 top 10s. That win came at Daytona earlier in the season, but he's only led 25 laps on the season. Last time he led a lap was at the USA International. He had a top 5 going there. But today, he would have, should have had a top 5 today. But so far, running in the 6th position, probably just playing survival mode at just a moment. But Billy Wise still having a good day overall despite the damage on turn 1. Alan Capers in the 13 car, man, I tell you what, he just manly disconnected, brought it to the garage area. He was in the 7th position, had a great race going today. But let's move down to Tom Johnson. Tom Johnson started 9th, currently in 8th right now. A little bit beaten up, looks like an SK modified on some points, but hey, it's still running really good, and he's still trying to get a solid top 10 out of this race today in that 56 machine. He's been kind of up and down the leaderboard majority of the day, but still trying to hold his own at the moment. So Tom Johnson, keep on going there. And how about this guy, Mr. Never Give Up, Nate Cotilia. Nate, I'm sorry, I'm getting it right, buddy. But he is in the 8th position. This guy never gives up. And he's just spinning. He's sideways. He missed the wall. Oh, he just missed the wall there. But look at this. He's still going to get her going. This is a never give up attitude kind of guy. He does have a spotter with him. And, he's still trying to get underway. Oh, he's going to spin it out here again. Does not hit it again. Now, that's skill right there if you don't hit it twice. But Nate getting on her way after starting 11th, up to 8th right now. Has had a difficult day, but he's still trying not to do that never give up the attitude. And that's what you love about Nate and every other driver here in this series. So Nate is currently running in 8th place. And Nate Catilla just spun it out again in the S's and does not, he finally hit the wall. But Johnny Bernardi on screen has had an up and down day. After starting in 7th, he's currently in 10th. I think the highest position I seen him was in the 7th position, but now he's fallen to 10th so far. But Bernardi, he's got some right front damage and still trying to limp it away across. Still trying to find some speed in that number 99 camp. But today maybe not be the day, but I'm sure the next race that this series goes to on the K&N side of things, which is going to be, I got to look on my schedule here. It's an oval track, not a road course. It's Oxford Plains, which we were talking about during the pre-race show. And also, Brian Lowhead's brought to the garage, and AJ Digby is out for today's race. So, well then, a lot of activity going on here at Watkins Glen for sure. Trying to keep up with the drivers is a difficult thing to do here at Watkins Glen, trying to go throughout the road course here. It is a 2.5-mile road course. But I am seeing a battle between Weiss and Fernando heating up once again. Billy Weiss has caught Fernando Matos for that top 5 position, despite both drivers a lap down. And if there was cautions, this would have been a battle for the lucky dog. So this is a pretty neat battle. Billy Weiss doing everything he can to try to get 5th place. Fernando's trying to do everything he can to play defense to try to keep his position. I've seen Fernando with less damage than Billy Weiss. I'm not really seeing any kind of damage on Fernando's machine. In that 17 machine, he's kept that 3-wide TV paint scheme Chevrolet nice and clean throughout this entire event here at Watkins Glen.
And you see a bit of different lines run by both drivers through that carousel corner. Matos electing to run around the outside of the track and diamond it down to the inside. Billy Wise electing to keep it down, pinned on the bottom. And you just see how both strategies work. Ooh, some trouble for Berardi there. He got himself in trouble, but he is out of the way. So these two drivers will continue their battle. And really, this has been a race of never give up, like you said, Tanner. We've seen a lot of drivers get in trouble, and these cars look like they are pretty hard to drive. We did hear during pre-race from some drivers, the setup is tough. Ooh, Matos way out into the runoff there. Looks like he might be able to keep his position. Yes, he is. Looks like that Billy Wise might have gave him a break there, so good on him for doing that. A lot of respect being shown here, but definitely that 17 missed the corner by just a little bit, and you saw how wide he had to go. And if that was a few laps ago, he would have been quite slow going through the gravel. But a lot of drivers say that the setup was pretty tough to drive, and that was not the easiest setup to drive, and it really punished you if you got it wrong. But all these drivers coming out here and showing that even a driver like Nate Catilla, whose car is quite well used up by this point, just out here running laps, trying to finish the race, get what they can get out of it. Given the tough track conditions and the setup, looks like the track is a bit hot. The track is 107 degrees, 86 degrees outside. So not only is the setup hard to drive, but the track is very slick out here today, and just really not good for having any grip whatsoever on the racetrack.
Biggest battle on track is between Matos and Weiss for that top 5 spot, but on screen you do have the number 20 of Dave Wilson. Now we're switched over to the battle for 5th place. It's still going on as they head down turn number 1. This was the hot spot for drivers spinning out, and this is the last time what happened to Billy Weiss. When he got up to that bumper like that to Fernando, he spun it up. This time he did not. So what is Billy going to do here? So far he's giving a lot of cushion, a lot of patience going to that number 32 machine for Billy Weiss. I'm just curious if he's waiting for Fernando to make a mistake so he can take advantage of the situation. I'm pretty sure that might be the deal. He's had a couple opportunities to look, but maybe he was just unsure about the pass. and that's okay. So as they go through the bus stop at the moment, we are 4 laps. Actually, we're less than 4 laps remaining. The race leader's already taken 3 laps to go. He's going to be coming to 2 laps to go here. There's the race leader on screen right now, coming through turn 7, and he's going to be coming to 2 laps remaining. So realistically, that battle at 5th has 2 laps on him. So coming across the final corner, and it's going to be 2 laps to go for Dave Wilson.
And if Dave Wilson can negotiate these last 2 laps without incident and keep his lead, he's got 27.8 seconds over second place Kevin Paskowicz. He will be your 5th different winner on the K&N side of things. The only multi-time winner in this series is AJ Digby, who we saw fall out with connection issues earlier, so he's going to be your 12th place finisher tonight. But really showing how competitive this side of the series is. Ooh, trouble for Matos. He's sideways, and wow, I can't believe he saved it there. He was absolutely sideways, all out of whack. That car was evil, just telling him, no, I don't want to do this anymore. And somehow I was able to keep that thing under control. And even more surprising was that neither of those drivers made any contact whatsoever. Just it looks like a bit of an early shift there, maybe a bit of rear brake bias as well on that 17, but was able to keep it under control. And now he's going to go to work on Billy Wise again. He wants that 5th position back. He wants a top 5 from this race, so we might just keep an eye on this battle, because this is the only battle on the track right now, and it is the best one, and we know these 2 drivers are going to fight hard for it.
And Dave Wilson's coming off the final corner. I'm seeing coming to take the white flag here at Watkins Glen International. 1 to go for Dave Wilson. I mean, he could afford for a mess up, but he practically can just take it easy right from here on out and bring her home to safety. He does take it wide right there, and of course he can afford to do that, absolutely. But the battle still goes on point between Fernando Matos and Billy Weiss. This is the highlight of the battles right now on the racetrack. Can Fernando get Billy Weiss back? He's going to try for it on turn number 1. Can't get enough of it. He's going to send it out just a little bit wider than what Weiss did. That's going to allow Weiss to pull away just ever so little.
Yeah, it looks like he was trying to get some speed in that corner, but just overcooked it a little bit, and it ended up costing him time.
Yeah, and the more sideways Fernando get, the more Weiss is just going to pull away. And Weiss has actually been a little faster. Even when Weiss was behind Fernando earlier, he was a little faster than him, but Fernando's just trying to hold on for that spot right there as best he can. He's kind of blinking right there, at least on my screen, but Dave Wilson coming through the turn 7, down into turn number 8. And Dave Wilson dominating performance. Get your kazoos ready. Dave Wilson will take the checkered flag here at Watkins Glen International.
What an absolute dominating performance for that 20 car. Through turn number 7 though, Billy Wise and Matos come the best battle on the track. We're going to cut back to this real quick. Matos looks like he's not going to be close enough. Got back some of that time he lost off at the last corner, but finishing in 5th position. Going to be Billy Wise with a very good effort on his part to get around that 17 of Matos, who absolutely was doing everything he needed to do to keep that 32 behind him, and just was not able to do that. But Dave Wilson right there, you see him doing some donuts near turn number 1. Well-deserved victory for him. He came out here and absolutely just showed everybody how to turn left, how to turn right, how to make this track his own. And it looks like he's some glitch right there. He's got himself pitched up on the guardrail, and that car is now going to fail inspection.
Hey Dave, how did you end up doing that? I mean, that car might fail inspection. Yeah, I tend to agree. I don't know how he ended up doing that. That's the first time I've ever seen that.
At least we have it on camera here for 3Wide TV. So
everybody's curious how he did that, and Nate's in the mitten word.
His teammates there as well. 98 Christopher Burge, the 2 Looney's racing cars.
Bernardi just annihilated the wall there.
So while these drivers do what they're doing, and I guess they're probably going to get out of their cars and try to get them pitched up and go maybe use the bathroom, get some food down there in turn 1 as Nate Catilla flies in there and flips Christopher Burge onto his side. But no, these drivers do what they're doing and get out of the cars, get cooled off a little bit, collect their thoughts, and we'll have some interviews for you guys shortly with the top 3 as well as Jeff Schmidt. Just kind of ask how the race went, because I do want to kind of get these drivers' thoughts on everything, as I think Christopher Burge might have some trouble. He might have some blood rushing to his left side of his head now, sitting on the racetrack like that. Actually, somehow he's still moving, so laws of physics are absolutely being defied here at Watkins Glen, and we're just going to ignore that because this is iRacing, and Dave Wilson looks like he has a guardrail through his car.
That's cool. I don't know if it's going to help. You're going to have to be on the other end of him, but there's no way to get on the other end of him to try to get him out of there. But he's still able to burn down the house here at Watkins Glen for sure as the smoke still piles in here at Watkins Glen. I'll bring it back. Welcome back to Watkins Glen International Speedway, where we just seen a fantastic right and left turn road course racing from the SimPossible Racing League on the K&N Series side. Dave Wilson takes the checker flag on today, but before we get to Dave Wilson here, I do believe we have Kyle Zimmer waiting for an interview, and Cameron Rich has caught up with Kyle Zimmer.
Yes, I have, and finishing third here after tonight's event didn't go super smoothly for you, but we know how you felt after Bristol. You said you weren't too confident in your chances here, but come out with a podium finish. I gotta imagine that you are gonna be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm definitely happy with third place tonight. It's definitely like a win for me for road course because I do struggle in road course. But I have been slowly getting better here to there, track and road areas. Yeah, tonight I would just be trying to hit my mark, and I know that I was catching Kevin and decided to stay out to the lap for points wise, and then after the pit stop, I messed up in the entry in the bus stop that kind of let me off there. I kind of swiped my right front side and damaged the areas right there, and I noticed lots of little bit of speed on straightaways there. I was able to limp it for third. I'm happy with it.
I bet you are. Well, we heard by a lot of the drivers in pre-race that it was the setup was a little bit tough to drive, and I looked at the track conditions. Very slick out there tonight, it looks like. Did that kind of we saw you have some troubles as well. How was the track out there from your perspective?
Yeah, the previous iRacing setup was definitely slick, but we made some changes on the setup to everyone today, and it definitely helped them hold and track wise. They use more throttle, but it was definitely slick up on last corner, and it's definitely easy. They're slick on the easiest, but I noticed as the laps went on, the more I had more grip on the easiest. But yeah, it definitely had to be on a certain part of the track and not driver or car. Definitely a lot of patience.
Absolutely. Well, 2 races left to go in the series, Kyle, and you look pretty good in the point standings, coming in as the points leader, and you're going to leave as the points leader with a bit more of a margin. And next week we go to what I think might be an oddball race, the Oxford Plains Speedway, the track that is absolutely what I think one of the toughest to drive probably on the surface. How are you looking forward to that one?
Yeah, and Oxford Plains, I think it's one of the shortest track on the control. Definitely gonna be the service going, especially if they get the. I think I made it after the lead now, after today, but I'm still not satisfied with it. But gotta try not to get involved in the later. Try to get there at track position.
All right. Well, coming out here, finishing third, saying you didn't really have too much confidence, but come out with a good finish nonetheless. So a good result. But Kyle, before we let you go, we know you probably got some shout outs for us, so let's hear them.
Yeah, I definitely like to shout out to you guys. We want to keep broadcasting this out, and I also want to thank Joe for running this link. I wanted to thank Protest Racy for supporting me tonight and podium tonight. Yeah, I want to thank everyone who participated in race, especially in the road course like this. Thank you.
All right, Kyle, appreciate you talking to us. Congrats on your third place finish, and we hope to talk to you again next week, bud. And that was your third place finisher. After tonight's event, Kyle Zimmer, I think Tanner Sharp has walked himself down pit road and found the second place driver, Kevin Paskowich. We'll see if we can find him. And yes, he is. So,
Found Kevin Pasowich, who finished in the second position. Kevin, it wasn't an eventful event for you after starting in the fourth position. You finished in second. Some unfortunate stuff happened to AJ Digby due to his internet, but overall, you were fighting your own car out there on the racetrack. Talk to me about your race today.
We just tried to keep it as smooth as I could. Lord knows I'm not a great road course racer, but this is still my favorite track. It's a home track for me in a way. I grew up not too far from the real Watkins Glen, so wanted to have a good finish, and sucks AJ, I don't think we were going to catch him, so definitely weren't going to catch David. Kyle bushed us all today. But just tried to keep it smooth, tried to keep out of trouble, not get, and see where I ended up.
You get a great points paying day here, Kevin, at Watkins Glen. It was second place. Last time you finished second in this series was back at the Milwaukee Mile. You've been very consistent this season. Do you believe that win is coming for you eventually in this series?
I'd hope so. I mean, if things had broken just a little bit different, I think we'd have 3 or 4 wins at least in the series this season. So it's been a lot of ups and downs. We've had a lot of good runs. If caution hadn't come out when it did, I think we would have won Milwaukee. I think we would have won Martinsville. I think we would have won, a couple other races in there. So, eventually, like to think that it will. We're just going to keep working hard until we can figure it out.
I believe the wins will be coming in your pocket in all series across the SimPossible Racing League in this future here. And speaking of the future, the next race for this series is at Oxford Lane Speedway, a short track, 150 laps there. How do you feel about trying to get your first win at Oxford Plains? And have you driven Oxford Plains before? And if you have, what is your thoughts on that racetrack?
I have never driven Oxford Plains in anything bigger, faster than a SK modified, so I don't know how these cars will handle there. I've never tried it. It's gonna be interesting. I think Oxford, it's a deceivingly tricky track, so we'll see how it goes with the guys and have some fun with it, I'm sure.
All right, Kevin, well, before we let you go, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to, sponsorships, or anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, of course, gotta thank my teammates at Phenomenal, as always, who are always pushing me to get better. Of course, Palmetto Distillery, PH Human, the PH Human Project, Dactylian Pharmaceuticals, as well as PH Aware, kind of, awareness for pulmonary hypertension and all of that bad stuff. And of course, my wife, Karen, who's, always supportive. And especially tonight, my dad. We actually changed the car number tonight, and I think we're going to keep it moving forward. Found out recently his old race car number from the days before I was around was 27. So changed it, honor him and all that he does to support and do, and the fact that he is who he is. So, get everybody there for that, and hopefully we'll get him a win next week.
That's a cool deal with the 27 number right there. That's one. That's an awesome, cool thing to keep that tradition going for sure. There, Kevin. Best of luck in the future races on the K&N Series side as SimPossible Racing League all together. I look forward to racing with you on Wednesday if you're going to be there. And Kevin, great run today at the Watkins Glen International. We'll see. Take care.
All right, thank you guys. Thank you for everything you guys do too for broadcasting the series. Really appreciate it. You guys do a great job. So thank you very much, and have a good evening, guys.
All right, that's Kevin Pasovich, folks, who finishes in the second position here at the Watkins Glen International Speedway. And let's go one up on the leaderboard here. Cameron Rich has ran down to victory lane to catch up with Dave Wilson.
Yeah, I got him right here, and really, Dave, there's not too much to say about your run today. You came out here and led every single lap of the race and won by an astronomical margin. Actually, not every lap, because I believe Kyle Zimmer was able to lead the one of the laps under the pit cycle. But just kind of take us through your race. How did it go from start to finish for you?
It was definitely a good start, and it took me about a lap or two to really figure out the track and figure where I want to run. And once I did that, it was pretty well just smooth sailing from there. I thought my worst corner was definitely the bus stop, just the entrance to it. Every now and then I'd either miss my braking mark and have to run through it, or I'd just start to feel the car to wheel hop a bit. It would be definitely a bit sketchy going through there. But overall, yeah, it was a smooth race. A couple close calls with some lap cars throughout it, and just overall a really fun race in general. It does kind of suck though that Digby had internet troubles or internet issues and got disconnected, but I think if he was in it, the outcome might have been different, or it might have been a lot more of a battle for the first place.
Absolutely. One thing I want to ask you, being as fast as you were, the track was pretty tough tonight for a lot of drivers. The track temperature was pretty high, and it looked pretty slick. We saw you actually miss the bus stop there one time, and you kind of just abandoned it and went straight through, and you had such a margin that it really didn't matter. But how did the track really feel grip-wise?
The track on tires, it was definitely felt perfect, and it was just really good. But as the tires worn down, it got really slick, and the setup was tight tonight too. Jeff fixed the setup because it was definitely a lot looser than with the default fixed one, so he made it a bit tighter so it would actually kind of stay on track and maybe help some people out throughout the race. I kind of had to adapt it a bit more. I'm usually used to a looser race car, so the tight setup was definitely a throw in a different path for sure, and definitely made the S's a bit tougher. But I was struggling in the S's throughout practice, but once we hit the race, I was able to figure out a good line through it and was able to sail through it for most of the race and actually gain a lot of time throughout the S's, but I just lose it all again in the bus stop, so I was trying to take that one a bit easier.
Well, you are the fifth winner of the K&N series, which at first glance it might be a surprise that it took you this long to get the win, but you've only run 3 races on the year so far, so I have to ask you, are you going to be at the event in 2 weeks at Oxford Plains?
Yeah, definitely plan on racing that one. It seems like it's going to be a really fun race just because the track is pretty well a bowl shape, and it's almost like Eldora but on pavement, and it's just a race we're going to be turning a lot, so it's going to be definitely make some for interesting racing and some close racing in general. It's definitely going to be a bit of a hard race if you do get over the edge though on it and go into the grass hill and try to make it back up on track, but I think overall it's going to be a really fun race and should be able to see me in that one as well.
Absolutely, and Oxford, I've always said that it's pretty much a racetrack designed by somebody who wants to see carnage, because they got the light pole little berms that you can do some aerobatics on, which I think will be. It's always pretty funny when cars fly over those and land back on the track. But either way, Dave, appreciate you talking with us as always. But before we let you go, we know you got some shout outs for us, so let's hear them.
Yeah, first off, I'd like you guys up here in the booth for streaming these races and commentating them every single week. All the guys in the races love coming back and watching these races after, and just seeing throughout all the carnage or just the battles and just all the great racing that happens on track. And it's definitely something that we don't get to really see as often, and it's awesome to be able to see each other either in their prime or struggling as well, because it's just an awesome experience every week, just going on YouTube and seeing these every so often. And I'd also like to thank the drivers tonight for participating in this race. It was definitely a tough one in general. I struggled myself, and it was definitely a setup, tough car, tough track, and I'd like to congratulate all the guys that finished this race tonight. And I'd also like to thank Jeff Schmidt for making this league possible. Without him, this really wouldn't happen, and all these guys would just be doing normal iRacing official races, and we just prefer seeing each other racing against each other and just being able to be in kind of the same caliber as each other, and just always have some banter in the team speak, and just always have a good race almost every single week.
All right, Dave, thank you very much for talking with us. Congrats on your win, and we hope to talk to you again in 2 weeks' time.
Yes, thank you.
And that was your winner of Sentiment, Dave Wilson. I believe that Tanner Sharp has caught up with Jeff Schmidt, who, if I see correctly, is eating pancakes on the other side of pit road.
Yes, he is. And Jeff Schmidt, welcome to here. And I thought, man, I was having a hard time keeping up with the action because there was so much action that these guys brought to the road course this evening, and they also brought up a never give up attitude. They still tried to accomplish this road course, and every single one of them realistically did accomplish the road course. Your thoughts on this race here at Watkins Glen there, Jeff?
Yeah, the road course racing in general is pretty difficult for a few of the drivers here with the disabilities that they do have. But, our whole deal with SimPossible is trying to get everyone to adapt, to learn, to have fun, most importantly, right? Just because you're not the fastest or you might struggle at something doesn't mean that you shouldn't come out and have fun doing it. And, every little bit of practice that you get on a road course helps, definitely. It can help you in many different aspects of racing. Of course, there's going to be the guys that regardless will never want to race a road course, and that's understandable because we are an oval league, but they are on the schedule, so, a lot of the guys really love road course racing to the point of would they want a road course league, or a road course series in the league, rather. So a lot of different thoughts on it, but overall, tremendous job by everyone at Road America last week and Watkins Glen tonight of just showing that it is possible for them to do it, and not only do it, but they do a heck of a job at it. Some guys having a little bit of issues here and there, but a lot of that was the hot conditions and a slick race car, a loose race car, kind of. You had to be really careful on throttle here, otherwise that thing would spin around on you. And one thing about this car is when it starts spinning, it's not easy to save. So a little bit different than kind of what we experienced with some of our other series, where it might be a little easier to save those vehicles. Tonight was very difficult to save it. So a little bit of frustrations from some, but you live and you learn. I mean, you can only get better by failing sometimes. And we had a lot of fun, that's for sure.
I chat with you guys just every single week on social media in the SimPossible side, including with you, Jeff. And I've not once heard anybody complain about each other or the racetracks. They just go out and they just do their thing, whether that it's difficult for them or not. I just think what you've built over at SimPossible is just an amazing thing. It's brought friendships. I consider you guys my brothers on iRacing, and I love coming out and racing with you guys every single week. SimPossible is really turning into a phenomenal racing environment for the disability on iRacing itself, and I think the word is getting out there for sure there, Jeff. But overall, what's your overall thought process on the SimPossible since it started compared to what it was today?
Oh yeah, man, the progression, we've all progressed. I mean, I'm not on track, but I've progressed myself even with understanding different things with disability and being able to kind of accommodate with it, and trying my hardest, man, to just make an environment where everyone can have fun, where they don't have to worry about anything, where there's no stress. You come out and race, you laugh, you have a good time, no judgments. You know, we don't care if you're 20 laps down or faster by, you know, or putting everyone 10 laps down. It doesn't matter to us. We want everyone to go out there and just have fun, and the competition is definitely there. I know tonight seemed a little different with Dave with that huge lead he had kind of all night, and congrats to him on the win. But usually we have neck-to-neck battles here, and we had some great battles tonight, don't get me wrong. The oval stuff, you'll definitely see that more than the road course side. But yeah, from then till now, from the idea of it even, to creating it, to finding all the wonderful drivers, I mean, man, like you said, they're our brothers. We love every single one of them. We love them, we love their families. Words cannot really put into perspective what these guys mean to me, and you know, my 100% dedication to help them out with anything that they could possibly need help with. It's a great thing, man. It's a great community. It's a great league. I'm blessed to be able to do it, and we're surely getting bigger and bigger. And pretty soon here, I think we're going to be able to do things that we only dreamed about.
Absolutely, Jeff. Every single word, I couldn't agree more, especially as a driver in the SimPossible Racing series and how it's growing. And with me being a part of this, it's such a great environment. I mean, there's some frustration out there for sure, you know, but that's just racing. We all understand that, but we get along with like in the next 5 minutes. So that is the great thing about SimPossible, is that we have a great environment, and I'm proud to have 3Y TV here on board with us and be part of 3Y TV itself as a driver. But we go to the next race on August 5th. Which is relatively 2 weeks from now for the K&N series, Jeff, and that's going to be Oxford Plains. A little bit of a challenge that these guys were looking at on the calendar outside of Watkins Glen. What are your thoughts on this being possibly maybe a good, huge, exciting race for these guys on a short track of Oxford Plains in a K&N car? Your thoughts?
It's interesting to say the least. That track is a lot of fun. It can be really dangerous too, like I heard you guys mention earlier. I mean, there's some berms around the track that you can find yourself in a really sticky situation pretty quickly. I'm going to have to do a lot of testing with the car to make sure that it handles there properly. Otherwise, we're going to have to, you know, make a setup or adjust it. You know, as long as we can have something that turns really good and can get on throttle without the rear end spinning out, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it will be like a beating and banging type race, and I think with the speeds being a little lower, since it's a smaller track, I think you'll be able to do that without wrecking everyone out. So I look forward to it, man. I think it's going to be a heck of a race.
I also think it's going to be a good close championship battle between, because we talked about that at the top of the show, between Zimmer, Capers, and Wise, separated by 8 points walking into Watkins Glen. It may have been a little extended, but I'm sure that anything can happen on these short tracks. I have never driven Oxford Plains since I was a rookie on iRacing, which is back in 2011, so I have not touched that track since, realistically, unless I think we did it one time here in SimPossible as a fun race, if I'm not mistaken. But overall, it was a great race to watch here at Watkins Glen. These guys truly can master a road course no matter where they go. I know they get together, be a part of the spa race that iRacing hosts. I'm sure these guys are going to get together and do the 6 hours of Watkins Glen eventually when that time comes around. And you know, these guys can really certainly master and try to accomplish anything they wish here on the iRacing simulator. And it all started with SimPossible Racing, and that's got to give these guys a lot of confidence.
Oh man, it almost sends chills down my spine. It's been amazing. These guys, you're right, they can do anything that they want, man. The sky's the limit. They have progressed so much and have gotten so much better as drivers with helping each other and not really having that stress factor of official racing or maybe other leagues. Not being stressed out. The main point of what we do is to have a good time and to heal our bodies and minds, and to just work towards progressing ourselves as racers and people. So it's been an amazing thing. I'm super fortunate of all the drivers here and how amazing they are. They're awesome guys, and yourself included, Tanner. It's been a heck of a deal. I'll go ahead and give my shout outs now too. Thank you so much, 3Y TV. Tanner, awesome job today too, man. Cameron, as always, Peter when he's out here, Carlos, thank you so much, guys. The broadcast is always truly amazing. Again, got to thank the drivers and the drivers' families. You know, some of them have disabilities where they need help and caretaking. So thank you to the families to not only help them with everything in their day-to-day living, but also to help them get on here and race with us. You know, that's amazing. All the support that they show. Everyone in the chat and everyone that watches our YouTube broadcast, thank you so much. It's truly amazing to see all the support that we have out there. Thank you guys so much. Thanks to Glen Sidman at SimAbility. We've been in talks and figuring stuff out here. We got a lot of interesting stuff coming up. Thanks to Brian Hannaford over at Adaptive Motorsports and Wellness. With him also, we have some interesting things coming up for sure. Can't really give you guys a whole lot of details on that yet, but it's really exciting. There's no doubt about it. It's exciting, and it's going to help grow SimPossible. We're going to be huge soon. And thanks to Paul Davies over at Team Brit. September 7th is the Team Brit endurance race, and they do a lot of stuff for drivers with disabilities as well. And we're fortunate enough to be invited over to be part of that event. So September 7th, mark your calendars. It's going to be a 6-hour endurance race, and we're going to have a couple teams out there racing it. So super excited for that. And of course, our charity race coming up September 14th. Unless something comes up, that is the date. I'll let everyone know. We do have some other stuff coming up with SimPossible that could possibly change that date, but as of now, September 14th, it will be our charity race. That will be a Daytona 500 event. Looking really forward to that. Got some awesome prizes for that. Just looking to raise some money to be able to do the things that we want to do. Some of the drivers need some equipment and different things, and you know, I can't always afford everything here myself, and things get tough. You know, if I had the money, I would absolutely put it up front for it, but we need to raise money somehow and get this thing going so we can do exactly what we want to do. Other than that, everything is great, and God bless everyone.
You heard from the man himself, ladies and gentlemen. That is Jeff Schmidt, league organizer of the SimPossible Racing League. Has some exciting things for SimPossible in the future and with its drivers for sure. Jeff, thank you very much for coming to talk with us in the booth, and we will speak to you probably this Wednesday live here on 3Y TV from the Iowa Speedway.
Thanks, Tanner.
That is Jeff Schmidt, folks, league organizer. And Cameron, what a whale of a race here at Watkins Glen International. I do believe it is time to go through the unofficial race results at the moment. Dave Wilson on top of the board after starting from the pole, and he wins the race here this evening. Kevin Pasowich had a very good run, kept that 27 machine clean all day practically. Started fourth, finishes second. Kyle Zimmer finishes in the third position. After starting fifth, Chris Roberge started third, finishes in fourth. Billy Weiss was on the move. He came from 8th place, gets a top 5 finish after passing Fernando Matos in the closing stages of the race for that top 5 spot. Fernando finishes in 6th after starting in 6th. Tom Johnson in 7th. Nate Cotillo is in 8th place this evening. Johnny Bernardi is in 9th, and running out that top 10, Alan Capers, Brian Lowhead, and AJ Digby brought to the garage in the late stages of the race. AJ Digby with that unfortunate internet connection, but I'm sure he's going to bounce back in the SimPossible Racing League starting this week, Wednesday, at Iowa in the B car. Cameron Rich, final thoughts on the Watkins Glen and the future of the SimPossible Racing League races?
Well, I think Jeff put it best himself. I mean, it's been a pleasure myself seeing how this league has progressed from its very beginnings to what it is now. So, you know, with each race, it grows more and more, and you know, definitely just showing how good these guys are getting with the tough track conditions, the tough car tonight. You know, Watkins Glen is not an easy track to drive. It is a very fast racetrack, very unforgiving, and you know, we saw what happens if you get it wrong. But these drivers did well tonight. But you know what? It's another race down in the books, and we got a couple more races to go in this series, and it's been a fun one, definitely for me to watch myself. But you know, before we go, we want to thank some people ourselves. Of course, first off and foremost, we have SimTV for those cameras that would show you this action each and every week. Very good cameras. They're actually in the chat, so you know, Kyle or Finian, if you're watching, thank you very much. We love you guys. SimTV is personally one of my favorite, or actually absolutely my favorite broadcasting team outside of 3Y TV, of course, that I talk for. But you guys are awesome, and we love you very much. And of course, we want to thank Thomas Morris for the graphics package that we use. And you know, it's very pretty, looks very nice. These graphics are their graphics that they look very, yeah, they're very nice looking, and they do the job. We love you too, Thomas. Other than that, all the people in the chat, if you watch the broadcast or you watch the replay, you watch live or afterwards, it doesn't matter. We appreciate the views and everybody that comes out to chat and hang out with us. You guys are awesome. We do read each and every chat. Might not be responding to it as quickly as possible because we're watching the races, but we do appreciate the views and especially everybody that comes out who's a friend or family of the SimPossible Racing League. It's good to see the family support in every through and through. It's pretty much a family ordeal, and it's really cool to see all that support. But other than that, Tanner, what are your final thoughts on the race?
It was a great race watching these guys really manhandle Watkins, Glen, and they really show, once again, like I said at the top of the show, a never give up attitude. Despite, crashing into a barrier or whatever, you're going to keep on trucking, and that's what these guys do. In any series, any car they drive on iRacing, and what they bring to the table in the SimPossible Racing League. I also got to thank Jeff Schmidt, the league organizer, for bringing on the SimPossible Racing League. He gives out opportunities to these drivers and also future drivers if you have a disability here on iRacing. Please come join us and log on to www.simpossibleracingle.com as well. And also, we have upcoming events here at the SimPossible Racing League. First and foremost, the B-Car Series, the Xfinity Series of the SimPossible Racing League, will take place on July 24, 2019 at Iowa Speedway. 166 laps there. It's going to be a good one live here on 3Y TV at 7 p.m. Eastern, and also, actually 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also, we have the Truck Series side of things on a Monday night. They duel off with the K&N cars. The next race on the Monday night for the SimPossible Racing Series is July 29th at the Pocono Raceway for 55 laps there. And then the week after that, on Monday, it's going to be Oxford Plains. So we have some great racing action here on SimPossible. Please join us here on 3Y Racing for all the action that we will bring to you. I'm Tanner Sharp, Cameron Rich, and Carlos Acosta back in the production truck. See you this Wednesday live here on 3Y TV. Take care, everybody.